What's going on, guys? Super Savage 789 here, bringing you guys a video. And today we're doing what if Ichigo never lost his powers. In this timeline, we'll say that the seal inside the Hogyoku activates when Ichigo overpowers Aizen initially, instead of merely trying to evolve him. Ichigo would look confused as he watches Aizen meet his fate. He would look at Zangetsu and chuckles a tiny laugh to himself before taking a knee exhausted. Urahara would show up, where he and Ichigo begin their conversation. Ichigo tells Urahara how he was prepared to sacrifice his Soul Reaper powers, which makes Urahara smile, glad to see Ichigo's selflessness. The gang all arrive to meet Ichigo, however here he doesn't pass out. They would begin celebrating with the mood being much more happier than it was in canon. Ichigo would need to resign from being a deputy Soul Reaper for obvious reasons, which would be a good thing. This means that he can still see his friends like Rukia and Renji, instead of losing the ability to see them and become a Soul Reaper. In the time, Ichigo wouldn't train like crazy, but he would still train nonetheless. After his time in the Dangai, Ichigo's spirit energy was converted into his physical strength, so in this time, I imagine his spiritual energy would begin to become traditional while retaining his physical prowess. I think we could see Ichigo trying to learn to master his Vaso Lorde form. Through Urahara, we could see Ichigo go into a Hueco Mundo to train this form. He may even train with Grimmjow, which would mean he also gets stronger when we see him next. I doubt Ichigo would be doing all his mundane stuff that he did in canon, as he'd be busy with Soul Reaper stuff. This means he'd never begin working under Ikumi. Over in the Soul Society, I imagine Renji and Rukia would be more motivated to train. This is due to them seeing how strong Ichigo is, so they decide they should also train, so they aren't completely left in the dust. I feel like they'd learn the things that they did after training with Division Zero, so that'd be quite cool. Gingo wouldn't want to target Ichigo about becoming a Fullbringer, since Ichigo doesn't have to get his powers back, making him much harder prey. Instead, it is my belief that Gingo would target Chad to be the person whose power he'll take. Gingo would approach Chad and would explain how execution can make him much stronger. Chad would be hesitant, but I imagine Gingo would prey on his insecurities about wanting to protect his friends, so Chad would begin training with the Fullbringers in secret. Of course, Gingo would still end up attacking Uyu, and both Ichigo and Orihime head to see him. With Ichigo still having his powers, Ryukin has no reason to withhold information from him. It would leave Ichigo on the edge, hearing that one of his friends will be attacked, especially since neither he nor Orihime have heard from Chad in a while. Ichigo would begin sensing for Chad's spiritual pressure, and I feel like after a short while, he'd be able to detect it. He'd head to where execution is, and is greeted by Gingo and the other members, including Chad. He'd be very hesitant about the group, even when Chad vouches for them. Ichigo and Chad would be walking home when they both sense the issue with Orihime's spirit pressure. Instead of them both running, Ichigo enters the Shinigami form and darts straight over. Before Tsukishima can escape, Ichigo lands in front of Orihime, asking if she's okay. Tsukishima would tell Shishigawara that it is time they should be getting off, but Ichigo merely moves behind him, telling him he isn't going anywhere. After a couple seconds pass, Tsukishima tells Ichigo that there is no need to be hostile. He merely followed his student over there to bring him back. He would apologize to Orihime for any hassle he caused her, and the duo would leave with Orihime telling Ichigo it's okay. Chad arrives not long after, asking what happened, and they explain. Here, Orihime wouldn't describe Tsukishima as a friend since he never got the chance to stab her. Ichigo would probably ask Chad if his friends could be the ones behind it, and Chad of course denies it. Ichigo would be suspicious and approaches Uyu along with Orihime. They get him healed up by Orihime's power and begin discussing what happened. Ichigo confesses to Uyu everything that's going on with Chad and execution, leading to the duo connecting the dots that Ginjo must be working with Tsukishima. Ichigo would immediately rush off to find Chad, with Uyu and Orihime trying their best to chase after him. When arriving at execution, he slices open the door and stands there furiously, leaving the members present, including Chad, confused. Ichigo tells Ginjo that his jig is up, leaving Ginjo confused what he means. Remember, he had Tsukishima alter his memory, so he genuinely has no clue what Ichigo is talking about. Chad will believe that Ichigo's gone crazy, telling his friend to snap out of it. Tsukishima would then arrive with Ichigo on guard, holding his Zangetsu as he prepares for an attack. Seeing Ichigo's hostility, he draws his Fullbring, and would begin battle with Ichigo. The other members of Execution would go behind the shadows, not knowing how they want to play this. So Ginjo, Chad, and Ichigo begin fighting Tsukishima. Through their short scuffle, Tsukishima would eventually get behind Ginjo and stabs him. With no clue how his Fullbring works, they believe that Ginjo has been stabbed regularly, and so he just falls to the ground, pretending to be dead. Ichigo tells Chad to keep his guard up right as Ginjo stands up, going to stab him. Before he can, the Quincy arrow manages to deflect the sword just barely, allowing Chad to avoid losing his Fullbring. Both Uyu and Orihime arrive in the nick of time. The execution members all stand by each other's side, looking at the gang as Gingo gloats about his plan. He shouts that after he beats Ichigo, he'll take Chad's power and become much stronger. Before fighting can happen, Urahara, Yoruichi, and Ishin arrive, having sensed Ichigo's fighting. Urahara would begin fighting against Kutsuzawa, where he begins amplifying his strength like a cannon. Urahara would begin using his ever-growing strength to his advantage, and merely stalling the fight, using Kido, until Kutsuzawa's muscles burst from his body, leaving him a bloodied and crippled heap on the ground. Urahara approaches him and apologizes that he cannot help him now, leaving him to be continuously maimed and eventually die under his own weight. Uyu would begin fighting Tristan, where he'd begin dismantling her. Using his bow, he's able to subdue her, however he doesn't kill her. Since Yukio never got an amp, no one would be inside game rooms, meaning Tristan doesn't have to supposedly die. Instead, Uyu just tells her to leave, and she does, tail between her legs, her fullbringer still being there. Chad would be fighting against Yukio inside his game room. Since Chad is much stronger, he'd be able to fight off anything Yukio throws at him, and he's able to knock out the boy while he's distracted talking about his parents. Yoruichi would go up against Ruruka, and does much better than Rukia does in canon. While Rukia may succumb to cute things, this isn't in Yoruichi's character, so she'd be able to quickly subdue Ruruka. She can tell that she isn't a bad person though, and so she merely knocks her out instead of killing her. Orihime would begin battling against Shishigawara. He would be reluctant to fight her, and so he'd be holding back, but Orihime quickly proves that this is a mistake. She uses the karate that Tatsuki taught her, and so she begins manhandling. Shishi doesn't have a choice, and begins trying to get jackpots. As he throws a punch, Orihime uses a fullbring to reject it, which negates his power. She would beat him up and tells him to stop following Tsukishima as he's a bad guy. I feel like Orihime would probably be able to get through to him, so he'd just merely leave. Ishin would be fighting at Tsukishima, where we'd see him taunting Ishin about his past, and how he failed to save Masaki. Eventually, he'd stab Ishin to manipulate his memories, but is confused when Ishin gets a deep slash wound across Tsukishima's chest. He grins and states that a father's love can never be forgotten, as he lands another wound onto Tsukishima, taking him out, leaving him in critical condition. Ichigo won't want to waste time and uses his Hollow Mass form. Since he is stronger than in canon and Gingo is weaker, the fight is more one-sided. Gingo would spout about his true purpose of the Deputy Soul Reaper badge and activates his Bankai. Ichigo decides to go all out, using Vassal Lorde and Bankai, and the duo rush each other. In one blow, Gingo is hit with a fatal wound and falls to the ground, dying not long after. Tsukishima then leaves on his own. Ichigo would then do the thing from the Soul Society, where he takes Ginjo's body, but would still remain a Deputy Soul Reaper. And that's really it here. Make sure you like and subscribe, and comment below what's happening in part 2. If you want more Bleach what ifs on the channel, make sure you give this video a like, as it does help out the channel. Let us know if you want more of this stuff in the future. This thumbnail is goated. I'm quite proud of it. That's all I want to say. Goodbye.